Today we're going to talk about ratio tables. And a ratio table is a way to organize equal ratios. It's a great way to display it when you have multiple ratios dealing with the same topic. Of course, you're going to have equivalent ratios. If you have, let's say, oranges and apples in a bowl, and you have multiple bowls that are exactly the same, those would be equivalent ratios. The relationship between the two pieces of fruit is the same. Then we have something called scaling, which you already know, maybe not by the word, but you know how to do. It's when you multiply or divide by the same number. So if I have 1/2 or the ratio of 1 to 2, and I decide to multiply top and bottom by 6, the equivalent ratio is 6/12 or 6 to 12. This was scaling. We scaled this by 6 because I multiplied both by the same number. Okay, let's look at some example problems. To make yellow icing, you mix 6 drops of yellow food coloring with 1 cup of white icing. How much yellow food coloring should you mix with 5 cups of white icing to get the same shade? So, if you go to the store and you buy those canisters of white icing, you want each of those to have the same intensity, the same color yellow. If you put 1 drop in one and 6 drops in another, they'll both be yellow, not the same yellow. Okay, so we need to do 5 of these containers that we get from the store. We're going to set up our table. The 2 things that could change are the amount of coloring, drops of yellow, and the cups of icing that we have. Those are our 2 variables, the things that can change. So let's put in what we know. If I have 1 cup of icing, I need 6 drops of coloring. Well, the question says, how much do I need if I have 5 cups of icing? So since icing was on the bottom, I put the 5 here. This is what I'm looking for. Now, you can think of these, if you can kind of take out the lines from the chart, you could think of this as a ratio of 6 to 1 equals what over 5? And that idea of scaling, where we're going to multiply by the same thing on the top and the bottom, comes in here. So how do I get from 1 to 5? I multiply by 5. Well, if I do it on the bottom, I must also do it on the top. So it's going to take me 30 drops of yellow to make 5 cups of icing all the same shape. Okay, let's look at another one. In a recent year, Joey Chestnut, who I actually think is from around this area, Joey Chestnut won a hot dog eating contest by eating nearly 66 hot dogs in 12 minutes. And I'll give you a second to let your stomach calm down. If he ate at a constant rate, determine about how many hot dogs he ate every 2 minutes. All right, so let's make ourselves a chart. What are the 2 things that can change? Number of hot dogs that he stuffed in his face, and time in minutes. All right, so let's see. We've got 66 hot dogs in 12 minutes. Oof. We want to know every 2 minutes. How can I get from 12 to 2? Can I get directly from 12 to 2? Well, yeah, I'll do a divide by 6, right? 12 divided by 6 is 2. And then I'll do the same thing for the top. 66 divided by 6 is 11. So my answer is 11 hot dogs. Now, if you didn't see that, you could certainly do it in multiple steps. You could cut this in half and get a 6, and then divide that by 3 to get 2. And the same thing, cut that in half to get 33, divide by 3 to get your 11. Okay, but if you can see it in one step, of course, you're going to want to do it because it's quicker. All right, I've got 2 more that are going to make us do those multiple steps. This is perfect for this time of year as everybody's shopping for family gatherings. Cans of corn are on sale for 10 cans for $4. Find the cost of 15 cans. And look at that. Our table is already set up for us. Now, can I go from 10 to 15? Is there a number that I can multiply? 10 times 1, 10 times 6? No, unfortunately, there isn't. But there is a common factor. So I'm thinking if I can take this 10 down to a 5, then I can take the 5 up to a 15. All right, so one thing at a time. How do I get from 10 to 5? I divide by 2. So let's do the same thing to the bottom. So if I get 10 cans for $4, that means 5 cans will cost me $2. But I need a lot more than that. So I'm going to do this multiple times. 3 times, in fact. We're going to grab a set of 5, and then grab another set of 5, and then grab another set of 5, and that will give me the 15. So if I did times 3, I got to do times 3 down here, $2, $2, $2. It's going to cost me $6 for 15 cans of corn. That's a big family feast. All right, one more. Joe mows lawns during his summer vacation to earn some money. He took 14 hours last week to mow 8 lawns. At this rate, how many lawns could he mow in 49 hours? I don't know, I'm looking at those numbers and none of them feel like they go together. Let's see what we can do. So we'll set up our table, and I usually make it bigger than I need to because I write big. So what are the 2 things that can change? His time and the number of lawns, right? Those are the 2 things that we're worried about for this. It really doesn't matter because we're talking about ratios, whether time goes on top or time goes on the bottom. When we start talking about rates and unit rates in the coming days, it is going to make a difference. But for right now, just get your 2 variables on there and you'll be okay. All right, so let's see. He took 14 hours to mow 8 lawns. I took that right out of the problem. And we want to know how many lawns he could mow in 49 hours. Now, if you see that I put that towards the end of the table, I kind of already had the gut feeling these numbers don't play nicely together. I'm going to have to do something in the middle. So I left myself some space. If you put the 49 here and then you did your other stuff at the end, totally fine. They're all equivalent ratios. This just, I think, makes a little bit more sense because you see what you're doing in the middle. Okay, so I see 14 and I see 49. Somehow I have to have them related. A 7 kind of starts jumping out at me because this is 2 times 7 and this is 7 times 7. So let me see if I can get a 7 right here, right? How can I get from 14 to 7? Well, I'll divide by 2. So if I divide by 2 on top, I also have to divide by 2 on the bottom. 8 divided by 2 is 4. So now I'm in good shape. How do I get from 7 to 49? 7 times 7. So then I'll do times 7 on the bottom. 4 times 7 is 28. So to answer the question, he would mow 28 lawns in 49 hours.